Okay, so in this video, we are going to be talking about the Long Island Railroad. The Long Island Railroad schedules. Many of them haven't changed for many years. The railroad is quite set in their ways when it comes to providing the service that they do. And for whatever reason, and especially evident these days, the Long Island Railroad prefers to put most of their service on the Babylon branch. The Babylon branch has the largest amount of service, and of all the major branches, the least amount of crowding. They have so many trains compared to everybody else, and the scheduling there works out much better than in other places. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we can change the schedules, how we can add more service to the main line right now, how we can add more service to the Ronkonkoma Branch right now, how we can add service to Long Beach right now. We can do it right now. And while there are projects that are needed, infrastructure projects such as the third track on the main line, which will provide more reverse peak service, and the double track for Ronkonkoma, service can still be improved right now. The railroad drags their feet when it comes to improving service. And it's clear under the administration of Patrick Nowakowski that the Long Island Railroad has more and more favored the Babylon branch, wealthier, whiter areas. You have a railroad that is not providing equal service to its passengers. And in this video, I'm going to show you the current schedules of some of those branches and the changes I would make to some of those branches. The Babylon branch, I think they have a little too much service, but I would just redistribute some of their trains over to the main line. The main line can handle more trains if there are 7 rush hour Montauk trains. Most of them use the main line and provide no benefit to us on the main line because they run express between Jamaica and Babylon, and therefore they just take up space. They don't provide any service to us to serve the South Shore, which I find absolutely outrageous. And that is one of the changes I would make as well. Those trains will run on the Babylon branch. They will not take up space on the main line. We will free up space on the main line so we can run more trains for people who live on the main line. The other thing, of course, isn't just schedules, but surveillance cameras and station waiting room hours. Surveillance cameras should be at every Long Island Railroad station, not just at railroad stations that have more rich people in them. They should be everywhere. Why should just rich people feel safe? Shouldn't everybody feel safe? Shouldn't everybody have the right to feel safe while they're waiting for a train? I think so. So the cameras should be everywhere. So we need the security cameras. And we also need better waiting room hours. I mean, Huntington's waiting room hours. Huntington waiting room closes at Huntington is a major station, and their waiting room closes by 7 p.m. or something like that. And I think Ronkonkoma is the same way, but your Babylon stays open until 10. What's up with that?
Waiting here in Huntington. The waiting room is not open. They're leaving us out here waiting in the cold.
I don't care.
What is up with the railroad's preferential treatment of the Babylon branch? This crap has got to stop. It really does. And so now let's go and look at the schedules and show you what it looks like now, the changes I would make to the schedules. And I think it's going to be a lot more fair. And that's the job of public transportation, to provide fair, equal service where it's needed. And right now, the Long Island Railroad is not living up to that. The first thing I want to show you is the schedule for the Ronkonkoma branch when the Barclays PGA Tour tournament was going on over at Bethpage. And they were providing half-hourly service to Ronkonkoma when they were doing this. And this was a couple of years ago. And as you can see here, there's half-hourly service on the weekend here, provided. They did this all day long. So you have to ask yourself, why can't they provide half-hourly service now?
So I just wanted to show you this to show you that it has been done in the past. So why can't the railroad do it right now? And they did it in the past, and there wasn't 2 tracks then, so why can't they do it now? Now let's take a look at some of the changes I would make to the Long Island Railroad schedules. So, Huntington Branch improvements and changes. Currently, the Huntington Branch does not have half-hourly service middays on weekdays. That needs to change. There needs to be half-hourly midday electric service between Huntington and Penn Station, which could be done right now. Once again, this could be done right now. These trains would make all Huntington line stops, Huntington, Cold Spring Harbor, Syosset, Hicksville, Westbury, Carl Place, Mineola, New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, New Hyde Park, and Jamaica, and then Penn Station. In addition to that, there will be a new post-PM rush train, because currently there is a gap between 8:42 and 9:42 on trains going to Huntington. And there's still a lot of people coming back from the city. And as a result, the 8:42 and 9:42 trains are packed. So I would have a new post-PM rush 9:10 p.m. train to Huntington, making all local stops. Jamaica, New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, Cold Spring Harbor, Carl Place, Westbury, Hicksville, Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington. And the other change I would make there on the bottom is all weekend trains will stop at Westbury and New Hyde Park. These stations are busy enough to warrant half-hourly service on the weekend, certainly busier than Cold Spring Harbor, which sees half-hourly service right now. And as a result of this change, those stops, those extra Ronkonkoma trains, we're going to get to the Ronkonkoma line, but the Ronkonkoma trains will not be stopping at Westbury and New Hyde Park any longer. So that is what I would do with the Huntington Branch. And now we're going to go to the main line. The main line changes and improvements. So what I have done here, in the morning, there is a 6 a.m. train from Farmingdale, and it stops at Farmingdale, Bethpage, Hicksville, and then it's express and to Mineola. It skips Westbury. Well, I would have it leave 4 minutes earlier at 5:56 a.m., and it's going to add a Westbury and Carl Place station stop, because currently there is, in rush hour here in Westbury, an unacceptable gap of 40 minutes between the 5:50 a.m. train and the 6:30 a.m. westbound AM peak trains to Penn Station. And that's unacceptable in rush hour. Plain and simple. This is a train that doesn't make that many stops. Adding a few more stops is not a big deal. And the 6:25 a.m. train from Hicksville will run express after New Hyde Park. It is going to be a flyer train. I think we don't have enough flyers here in Westbury, and I think that the 625 should become a flyer. And almost all the people on that train are going to Penn Station. There's no need for it to stop in Jamaica. It should be a flyer. When the Babylon branch has like 3 or 4 flyers per station, Westbury we only get 1 flyer in the morning. So I'm adding another flyer. That's a second flyer. Now, there will also be a new 7:05 a.m. westbound train from East Williston. There are hardly any trains that originate, or there's only one train that goes to East Williston in the morning. But I'm going to add another train that's going to be coming from East Williston in the morning. A new 7:05 a.m. westbound train from East Williston to Atlantic Terminal, which is going to be making all stops to Floral Park, Jamaica, and then Atlantic Terminal. Now we're going to look at the PM. In the PM, what I've done is I've taken the 503 Babylon train and I'm making it serve the main line. It will no longer be, it will be combined with the 457. When we get to the Babylon train changes, I'll show you what we've done. There will be a new 503 Express Flyer train, which right now goes to, it's an Express to, I believe, Wantaw or something like that. But now it's going to be an Express to East Williston. It's going to be Express, no Jamaica, for stopping at New Hyde Park, maybe even Floral Park, because they get short chains over there in Floral Park. But it'll be stopping at New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, and East Williston. And there will also be another train, the 605 express train to Montauk, which I've seen is not that crowded. I don't see anyone standing on that train. That's going to be permanently combined with the 610 to Freeport, and that 605 train will now go and provide much more needed service to Ronkonkoma. And it's going to run express as a flyer, still be a flyer. It's going to be stopping at New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, Hicksville, and then all stops to Ronkonkoma. And as a result of that train making New Hyde Park and Maryland Avenue, the 6:08 p.m. Huntington train will no longer make stops at New Hyde Park and Maryland Avenue. So we're shifting the stops over to so the load is shared like on the Babylon branch. So that's what I've done on the main line. Now we're going to take a look at the Ronkonkoma branch. Now on the Ronkonkoma branch, like I said before, they can do it right now. Weekday, off-peak, and weekend half-hourly service can be done right now. And that's what I would do on the Ronkonkoma branch. There will be weekday, off-peak, and weekend half-hourly service, leaving Ronkonkoma, going west at 40 and 10, and leaving New York at 15 and 45. And every other train will run express between Hicksville and Jamaica, and then the other train will be stopping at Mineola in addition to those stops. Now, in the rush hour, I will be adding a new, now this is what I talked about, the 605. New PM rush hour train, the 605, which right now is a Montauk train, is now going to be express stopping at New Hyde Park, Maryland, Mineola, Hicksville, and then all stops to Ronkonkoma except Pine Lawn. So that is what I'm going to do there. So I'm shifting the service to where it is needed. It is needed much more on the Ronkonkoma branch. And now the Babylon branch. Changes to improve efficiency. The Babylon branch is recently rated as one of the most inefficient lines. There are way too many trains. There are trains that have seats available. They're not crowded, and the trains are needed elsewhere. So, on the Long Island Railroad Babylon branch, the 6:52 a.m. train from Massapequa Park to Atlantic Terminal will be combined with the 6:59 a.m. train from Babylon to Atlantic Terminal. And in the evening, 5:03 p.m. train from Penn Station to Freeport is combined with the 4:57 p.m. train to Montauk. Those two trains are half full. They're not that crowded. They should be combined. It's a waste when there's more service that's needed in other parts of the system. And the 6:05 p.m. train from Penn Station to Montauk will be combined with the 6:10 p.m. train to Freeport extended to Montauk. And I know if you're a Babylon branch commuter and you're one of those rich, stuck-up, snobby people that ride those trains, you're not going to be happy with these plans. But this is public transportation, and the resources need to be provided where it's needed. Now we're going to look at some schedules, and I'm going to show you some sample schedules of the changes I would make. Now we are currently looking at a Babylon line AM peak schedule. I'll just scroll from left to right here so you can see it. You can see they have a whole crap load of trains here. And I have to say it's just amazing how many trains they have compared to what the rest of us have to deal with. But anyway, I want to go over and show you this right here. You see I'm highlighting this. Alright? You see these two trains go to Atlantic Terminal. But they have two trains that go to Atlantic Terminal. One that goes to Babylon and then goes to, and then it skips these stops. That train can't be very full. And so this train, this 6:59 from Massapequa Park, and I mean literally it makes 6 stops, and then Jamaica and then Atlantic Terminal. That's ridiculous right there. That's a waste. This will be combined with the 6:52 train. And this is train, take a note of the numbers, train 1011. So now I'm going to note what I did here. So I know it might look a little sloppy, but you see what I've done? I've combined that train with the 6:52. There's no reason to have two separate trains. Not when most people are already going to Penn. And the equipment for that train, note that train 1011, because we're going to look at the Huntington train changes next. this is a Huntington schedule here. This is the current Huntington schedule. Now, I want you to look here. All right, this row right here is Westbury, this is my station right here, right where I'm highlighting. See the gap between 5:50 and 6:30? You'll also see the people in New Hyde Park also have very poor service. New Hyde Park and Maryland Avenue. Their service is not that good. And so the changes I would make, so just take a look at this schedule here. This is the existing Huntington Branch schedule. Now let's look at the changes I would make. Alright. Now first you're going to see there's a train here that's going to be stopping at this is the 608 train that I talked about. It's going to leave Farmingdale a little earlier and add Westbury and Carl Place to close a gap. Because right now there's a gap between 5:50 and 6:30. And for the poor folks in Carl Place, the 5:50 doesn't even stop there. So they have like an hour gap in the middle of the beginning part of rush hour. So this is going to add those stops. Westbury, Carl Place, Mineola. It's going to add those stops. And the 625 over here, 625 at Hicksville, stopping Westbury, 6:30. This is going to be express after New Hyde Park and be a flyer to pen. All right, it may only save a minute or two, but it'll just because we need more flyers. We get shortchanged with the amount of flyers we get here. All right. And then the other change here, and this is train 1011 right here. Remember we talked about 1011, which currently operates on the Babylon branch? Well, it's going to be an East Williston loco that's going to be stopping at New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, Maryland Avenue, New Hyde Park, Jamaica, and to Atlantic Terminal. It's going to go to Atlantic Terminal because that train already goes to Atlantic. It's going to go to Atlantic Terminal, and that's the change I would make right over there. Now, let's look at the PM peak. Let me look at the Babylon line PM peak first. We'll go over to that. Alright, this is the Babylon branch PM peak you're looking at right here. And again, look at all those trains they get. Now, let's look at the changes I would make. Now, you'll see here there's a 453 and a 457 and a 503 here. Both these trains carry light, so these are both going to be combined. 503 gets rid of. Take a note at the number 1152. All right, and then you look over here is the 605 and the 610. Take a note at the train number 1064. All right, and then we're going to show you what we're going to do here. You'll see what the changes here. You'll see that here. So we're gonna eliminate two trains in the Babylon branch that I don't feel are needed. All right, so the 457 now is combined with the 503, and it's going to make Rockville, Center, Baldwin, Freeport, Merrick, Belmore, Wansaw. All right, and the 605 is now permanently combined with the 610, which is going to make Rockville, Center, Baldwin, Freeport, Merrick, Belmore, Wansaw. And whenever it's combined, the people whine that the train is too crowded. But let me tell you something. I see that train pull into Merrick, and there are seats available. Plenty of them. All right? In rush hour. All right? So the train's crowded. They're just, when they say it's overcrowded, it's just crowded like the typical mainline train is. You know what? But as the railroad needs to provide the service where the resources are needed. And there are other places on the railroad where they are needed more. Now let's take a look at where I've put those trains. Now, we're going to look at the Huntington PM peak here. All right? The current stopping patterns and everything like that. First of all, you'll see, especially New Hyde Park and Maryland Avenue, man, they have it even worse than we do here in Westbury. I know they're served by the Hempstead branch, but the Hempstead branch is very bad. And so this is what their current schedule looks like. This is what our current schedule looks like. And one train that has a habit of being late all the time is the 608 local train in Huntington, because it's a milk train. It makes all the stops. It needs to be split up. So now I'm going to show you what I've done here. All right, you'll see that there's a new train leaving Penn Station at 5:03. This is that East Williston flyer. It's going to be making, first of all, there are no flyers that serve Mineola, by the way. Mineola has no flyer service. That's going to change. All right. Mineola is like such a busy station, they don't have any flyer service. By flyer, I mean skipping Jamaica. So 503 from Penn Station, stopping New Hyde Park 533, Maryland Avenue 536, Mineola 540. I don't have East Williston on the schedule. It'll probably be East Williston 545. But that is going to provide that area. They deserve this service, man. All right. Do not have enough service here. All right. And so this will help balance the loads out. And so we go over here, you'll see. So again, look at the train number, 1152. I don't know if you can get that down there. 1152 is the train number on the bottom, and 1064. So 605, which is right now 605 Express to Wantaw, stopping only at Merrick, Belmore, and Wantaw. 3 stops. That's all it stops at. So it's 3 rich white towns. All right, well, that's going to change. It's going to be a Ronkonkoma train now. And it's going to still be a flyer. It's going to be 605 Express to New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, then stopping at Hicksville, and then it's going to make all stops to Ronkonkoma except Pine Lawn. And this changes the way things are. So Westbury is a flyer at 601. That stays the same. That train only stops at Westbury and Hicksville. I might want to add Carl Place to that train. But now you'll also have this train here. And the other thing I've done is the 640. There's a diesel train here that stops at Mineola at 642. It's not going to stop Mineola anymore. It's going to be express to Hicksville. If you need to get from Mineola and catch this train, you'll be able to catch the new 605 train from Penn, arriving at Mineola at 640 and getting there at 648, and you'll be able to cross the platform and board the Port Jeff train at 650. All right, they will hold for each other. All right. Well, this train will actually be ahead of the just ahead of the Port Jefferson train. Port Jeff train will be right behind it, so they'll connect with each other. All right. Now, as you see, this looks a little more like a Babylon branch schedule because I've divided the trains. You don't have this 608 is no longer a milk train. The 605 is now going to serve New Hyde Park and Maryland Avenue. The 608 will not be stopping at those stops anymore. So it'll be stopping Mineola, Carl Place, Westbury. So this train is chronically late because of all the stops it makes. So this will actually improve the on-time performance quite a bit. So I think this is a great idea. Obviously, Patrick Nowakowski has other ideas. I'm going to tag him in this video like I've tagged in other videos because I think that these changes need to be made. They can be made right now. There are no excuses. All right, I ride the trains often enough. I see the way the train traffic moves. There are no excuses why this can't be done right now. All right? The only excuse is that a bunch of rich, politically connected Wall Street people on the South Shore want their special trains, and we all have to suffer because of it. Okay, now I want to show you the Ronkonkoma and the PM Peak. And there really aren't enough trains, and some of these trains, because of there aren't enough trains, are really overcrowded. Particularly the 621 here. It gets very overcrowded because literally you have a 553 Express and then 620, almost a half hour on the busy Ronkonkoma line. There needs to be another train here. Badly. And that's where the 605 train, which currently goes to Montauk, comes in. It's going to go to Ronkonkoma now. There it is. So you can see here, a 605 train from Penn Station is now going to go to Ronkonkoma, and you see I put it in the schedule, 640 at Mineola, 648 at Hicksville, 654 at Bethpage, 649 at Farmingdale, 655 at Wyandanch, 7 o'clock at Deer Park, 705 at Brentwood, 710 at Central Islip. Now there will have to be a meet because there's a 713 westbound train from Ronkonkoma. So it's going to have to wait a little bit at Central Islip till around 7:18 or so. Once it leaves, it'll get to Ronkonkoma around 7:23. All right, so there will be a little bit of a wait, but it's still better than no train at all right now. So you're filling a gap in service where there is extreme crowding on that train. And this 605 needs to go to Ronkonkoma. I don't care what the rich people in Wantaw have to say. If you have an ounce of common sense, you'll know what I'm saying is right and proper planning. Now, I just want to show you some samples for the weekend here. All right, this is the Huntington weekend schedule. And the problem I have on the weekends here, we're looking at eastbound service here, is that the trains currently alternate stops. Well, like I said, I'm going to change this. All Huntington trains are going to be serving New Hyde Park and Westbury from now on the weekends. All right, this is the weekend schedule is not going to look like this anymore because you see here in Westbury, us folks only have hourly service right here, 8:05, 9:05, 10:05, which is absolutely bullshit. All right, and they have that extra Ronkonkoma train stopping at Westbury, but that Ronkonkoma train shouldn't be stopping at Westbury. Huntington train should be stopping at Westbury. We're on the Huntington line. All right, and and the service again needs to be evened out. And again, it's odd because look, we have a train stopping at Westbury at 7:05 and then 7:13. That's not actually every half an hour. All right, so instead, this train that currently stops at Carl Place, not Westbury, will stop at Westbury, and the Westbury train will be stopping at New Hyde Park. So let's look at some of the changes I would make there. All right, here's a sample of the change I would make here. All right, so as you see, 622 train now adds, you can pretty much look at it yourself. And the railroads say, oh, there isn't enough time for Huntington. First of all, there's plenty of time built into the schedule. There's plenty of running time to get this run done. You get to Huntington a few minutes later, you're still going to have 6 minutes for the diesel connection. So it's, again, a bullshit excuse from the Long Island Railroad. Complete bullshit. I'm proving it right here. All right, so now we're going to go to the Westbound, just to show you what I would do with the Westbound, which is pretty much in reverse. All right, this is what the Westbound train schedule looks like currently. And again, if you're a sucker here in Westbury, you see we only get one train an hour. Well, that's going to change. All right, you can see again, Cold Spring Harbor gets a train every half an hour, but we only get one train an hour despite our train station being busier. Well, So these are the change I would make. All right, so it's just a brief little schedule snippet, but you can see here that I've added New Hyde Park to all the Westbury trains, and again, plenty of time here to complete the run. 8:21. I mean, literally 8:21, 8:28. All right, you can squeeze in a stop at Westbury at 8:26. All right, don't give me that. All right, 8:31, 8:35. There's plenty of time, especially on the weekends. Sometimes the train runs early and actually has to wait. All right, there's plenty of running time. All right, just need to move the train a little faster, but there's still plenty of time to complete these runs. Again, a complete bullshit excuse from the Long Island Railroad. The Long Island Railroad has really been caught with their pants down this time, discriminating against communities of middle and lower income in favor of richer areas and in favor of white areas. All right, and the last thing I just want to show you briefly is the Long Beach schedule. Here, which sucks. All right, they need more trains out of Long Beach too. It should be half hourly in the middays, and it should be half hourly on the weekends. That could be done right now. That could be done right now. Again, and then you can't even argue about track constraints because there's plenty of track capacity, especially in that particular area of the county. There is one more thing that I want to talk about here with the schedules, and that is the Montauk branch. Now, I spoke a bit about rerouting some Montauk trains to the Babylon branch in rush hour. However, right now, at least with the schedule changes I made, I don't see that is necessary, but I still think it's something that we need to look at. But the main thing I want to talk about here is the current schedules on the Montauk branch. These trains here, the 810 train, this is looking at the weekend here. The 810 train from Jamaica runs express to Babylon to 846. It runs down the main line but does not serve any of the stations. And that means that an opportunity for people in central Nassau to head out east to the Hamptons on the summer day is not available for them. They'd have to backtrack to Jamaica at significant time and expense. All right, and you can see the same thing here, down here. So now, let's look at some of the changes I would make to this schedule, and there are only two. So, as you see here, the 810 train out of Jamaica is now going to leave at 8:08. It'll leave a few minutes earlier, and it's going to add a stop at Hicksville. This is the 810, 808 eastbound train to Montauk. So now, people can catch a train at Hicksville and go out to the South Shore, especially in the summertime, to go to the beaches, leave the car at home, park at Hicksville. Because there's insane traffic out there, and they can take the train. They can take the train. That's less traffic on our roads. And it provides a valuable connection, a north-south connection that should be used more if the train is going that way anyway. And it is. 808, 810 train that always takes the main line. So now, instead of just passing through Hicksville 20 miles an hour, it's going to make a stop at 829, and then it'll go to Babylon. All right? It's one stop. Now you may ask, well, what about people that want to travel between Hicksville and Jamaica? What are you going to do about those people? Because they're going to try to take that train, and that train is crowded. The trains get crowded, especially in the summer. Simple answer to that. There won't be any tickets allowed between those points. Metro North does something very similar with its trains and makes them either a lighting only or disembarking only. All right, so this train here, the 808 train, you will only be able to get on the train at Hicksville. No one will be able to get off. Maybe we open one door. No one will be able to get off. Just to get on. Just for people to get on, going east. And then going west, it'll be in reverse. So going west, I've added a stop at Hicksville on the 535 train from Montauk, which is going to stop at Hicksville at 757. The same thing. Passengers, it'll be in reverse though. Passengers will only be able to disembark at Hicksville on this westbound train. They will not be able to get on the train. So here I have here, for travel between Hicksville and points, the little @ symbol. For travel between Hicksville and points east only, train does not carry fares between Hicksville and Jamaica. This is Metro North does this on some of their trains. It's time the Long Island Railroad do it and start accommodating intra-island travel. And again, I know this train takes the main line. And once again, this can be done right now. No excuses except BS. That's the only excuse the railroad has for this, is BS. So the bottom line is this. Should these people here in this picture standing waiting for a train in Merrick be any more important than anyone else? No, they shouldn't be. They may be preppy. They may be rich. But they're passengers. It's time for a change. Look at all the people waiting for my train here in Westbury. We're just as important as those people. We aren't any different. We are all human beings. Especially under the eyes of mass transit, we all pay our fares. We all buy our tickets. We all need to be treated the same. This nonsense has to stop. And I'm going to continue to fight for better service for Westbury as well as other neglected areas of the Long Island Railroad. Patrick Nowakowski, you have been called out numerous times, and I am asking you once again, and I'm asking anyone in the MTA and your elected officials, pressure this guy to resign. We need somebody who can treat all Long Island Railroad passengers fairly, regardless of race, income, or anything else. Thank you for watching.